The Cancer Association have a special breakfast fundraising activity. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Yvonne Alexander, an executive member. Stick around, Dominica. Stick around.
Dominicans, enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your property. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till you flood again, can't wait till you fly out and all your business coming out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season. Insure with a company who gives you the assurance of payment for your valid claim. Come speak with us today at the New India Assurance Company Limited, upstairs AC Shillingford and Company Limited, 24 King George Street, Roseau. Bring along an up-to-date valuation from a qualified engineer and get insured today.
Dominica, get ready for the massive UWP General National Meeting in Lyon, Saturday, March 21st. A massive crowd of patriotic Dominicans will gather to hear and to be informed of the state of the estate of Dominica. Team Dominica, the United Workers' Party, and thousands of dedicated supporters. Cost of living in Dominica is suffocating. Saturday, March 21st. Join the United Workers' Party. The silent majority is ready. From the north, the south, the east, and the West, an impactful lineup revealing shocking revelations. Stand with confidence for liberation and salvation. People in Dominica are frustrated, disappointed, even betrayed. You are not alone. The masses will converge in line Saturday, March 21. Come join the crowd. Be part of history with the UWP, the United Workers' Party. Power must change hands. This election cycle, it's all the way with the United Workers' Party. Surprising revelations.
Just the man that's been for too long, but making no call.
Turn to stand for their wash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it, brother. I have no fear of nothing, no one at all.
Don't allow the authorities to destroy nature, the rivers, the mountain, the nature isle.
Don't call and complain about Dominicans not standing up. Where are you?
Make the call. Save Dewash.
It's not a war against the people. It's a war against wicked principalities in high and low places.
They're taking it to the next level. The courts. Call and make your contribution to save Dewash this Friday, 1 to 3. Make that call. Save Dewash.
I see going shopping for farming supplies. So I ask you, what are you doing inside Bloombox? Do you have a farm? You tell me, that's how it has sort. I've been married 37 years. Look at my money farm. They say, no, not woman, like land for farming crops. And then you understand, Bloombox is the most affordable on island. Knapsacks starting at only $57.71. Elsewhere, it's $300 plus. Cutlass seeds, seeding trays, nursery pots, sales of potting mix, all at way better prices than anywhere else. Fertilizers, 3-in-1 multi-tool, and so much more. Located on Federation Drive, Goodwill. Second property on the right after the Valley Link Road and on the corner of Drury Lane and Hanover Street in Rosal. Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
Warner, the UPP is coming your way this Thursday, a grand public meeting. Join the political leader, Joshua Francis, and the top executive members. Speak about your future, the vision for the nature island of Dominica, job creation and electoral reform. Make Dominica great again. March 19th, next to Mr. Hayden Sharp. See your face in the place, the UPP in Warner, March 19th, 7 p.m. See you there. All right, Dominica, a very packed afternoon. At the 2 o'clock hour, we have with us the Chief Executive Officer of the International Airport. Mr. Johnson will be our guest from 2 o'clock to tell Sue, to tell Lou that Mr. Johnson will be here on the Talk on the Block from 2 o'clock. And before that, we'll be talking again about the land controversy in the Wharton Waven area. Is there light in the tunnel? Remember, just on the weekend, allegedly one man was killed over another piece of land. Please, the authorities, don't let this situation escalate. So we'll speak about that. But before we do, we have Yvonne Alexander, an executive member of the Cancer Association, with us to talk about this fundraising activity for the Cancer Association. Mr. Alexander, how are you doing this morning or this afternoon? How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Mark. Thank you so very much for the opportunity. From good afternoon to you, to the management and staff of Q95, to all the listeners, the people who listen to Q Talk on the Block. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. Yvonne Alexander, currently the Public Relations Officer of the Dominica Cancer Society. And I'm really here to mobilize the support of the general public for a fundraising prayer breakfast that we are hosting. It is scheduled to be held next week, Saturday. It's the 28th of March at the Goodwill Parish Hall. It commences at 9 a.m. It's a good time for the members of the public who are interested in making a donation to the Dominica Cancer Society. To get in exchange a ticket, it's only $65 contribution, gets you a ticket to an event that will allow you to participate in a wonderful morning of prayer, inspiration. There is entertainment by the Pan in Harmony Steel Orchestra. There will be a very vibrant guest speaker in the person of Mr. Valentine Coffey, recently ordained deacon of the Catholic Church. Come hear a story of inspiration, of survivorship, of spirituality. We all are familiar with Val and what he has to offer. He is the key guest speaker on that occasion. Come be inspired, come enjoy the entertainment, come participate, and more importantly, come contribute to a very, very worthy cause. It's the Lent period. It's a good activity for people to participate in and give to. All the proceeds of this fundraising event is used to assist individuals in need to meet the cost of cancer treatment.
Paint to us before you go on there. Paint to us the situation on the ground as it relates to cancer.
Well, the best people who would probably be able to give you much of the information on the ground as it pertains to cancer in terms of data and prevalence and the types of cancers that are affecting us here in Dominica would be officials of the Ministry of Health. But in the case of the Dominica Cancer Society, we do have many individuals who come to our office on every day that we are opened. There are individuals coming in applying for financial assistance. It ranges from women with incidents of breast cancer to men with incidents of prostate cancer. These are the two main ones we are seeing, but we do have quite a few colon cancers. We have things like pancreatic cancers, testicular cancers, and so on. We do have some of these lung cancers, so we do have some of these. So just based on the anecdotal information at our office, because it's not everyone comes to us, we predominantly assist those who do not have health insurance and can't afford to meet the cost of treatment. I think we are all well aware of, the cost of living here, the type of wages that people make, the fact that something like a cancer diagnosis just changes the entire economic dynamics of a family because treatment is costly. It's hundreds and thousands of dollars for the diagnostic tests or the treatment itself, be it whether it's surgery or chemotherapy, which are the two main ones that we provide here. And we also assist individuals who need to have radiation treatment done. We assist them to get to the Guyana Cancer Center to have this done with the support of the government, of course, because this particular treatment is not available locally. So the situation has not, from what we are seeing, it appears that many more people are turning to the Dominica Cancer Society for assistance. It may be because many more individuals do not have health insurance. It may be a call for some sort of national health insurance that would assist in covering, the healthcare needs of the general population. It may be that there are rising prevalence of cancers. We can't say that. We can only speak about those who come to our office, and we are trying to alleviate the trauma that people would face in trying to make decisions regarding, do I pay the rent or do I pay for the treatment? So that's where we come in and we buffer. You would not see us going public with this because of confidentiality and other issues like that. So we would not be publicly making those monetary donations. But all the applications at our offices, and the people in the general public who would have been assisted are testimony to the fact that this is what our fundraising activities, the proceeds of our fundraising activities goes into.
But tell us, when will that activity be? When exactly?
Right. The activity is scheduled for Saturday, the 28th of March. It's next week, Saturday, 9 a.m., Goodwill Parish Hall. It's going to be a beautiful morning of prayers, inspiring information from the guest speaker and others, like we expect to have in attendance either the Minister of Health or his representative. We have a really very good Master of Ceremonies in the person of Mr. Michael Jean-Jacques. He's a pastor. He will have the Pan in Harmony Steel Orchestra providing entertainment, steel pan musical entertainment. It's going to be a beautiful morning. And so we are encouraging those who have not yet purchased their ticket to do so. Tickets are available at our office. People can call our office or just contact any member of the Dominica Cancer Society that you know so that we can get the tickets to you. The tickets is just a contribution of $65. That's all. For a beautiful morning of prayer, inspiration, entertainment, and that money is going towards a very worthy cause.
You know, every time I speak to you, I have the occasion to speak to you. I remember a cancer, patient, of course, in the recovery mode, wanted to hear this song. I'm going to play it before we wrap up with you for the next 2 minutes.
All right.
Stick around.
Thank you, Jesus.
There are many of us,
Hallelujah.
many of you,
You are who you
suffering with the dreaded disease.
today and forever.
Give some support to those in need.
Jesus is what you do. You never fail, you never change. You are faithful till the end. Faithful God, I worship you.
Support the cause.
I worship you. You're too faithful to fail me. You're too faithful to disappoint me. You've proven yourself in my life, and I've come to realize you're too faithful to fail me.
Let's support the Dominica Cancer Society
You're too faithful to
at this breakfast
me.
planned for later this month,
Oh, Jesus.
Saturday, I think.
For the disappoint me. You've proven yourself in my life, and I've come to realize you're too faithful to fail.
Many a cancer patient loves the song. Give support to the Cancer Society. Only $65 a special breakfast with prayers. In a few minutes, we'll be wrapping up. But Yvonne, somebody's asking about, do you have a color code for the event?
Well, it will be shades of our color combination is white, pink, and green. White, pink, and green. The green is hope. Okay? That theme of hope goes through everything that we do. We give people hope. Okay? So white, green, and pink. Pink, of course, because it's symbolic, because many women are affected by breast cancer, and quite a number of the individuals who show up are women. So yes, call our office. We are located at 30 McIntyre Lane, Goodwill. It's just before you get to, it's in close proximity to Lindo Park, just before you get to the Red Cross. Close, anytime you get to Lindo Mac, you can ask where is the office of the Dominican Cancer Society and get through. We are really looking forward to the support of the general public in making this Thanksgiving fundraising for breakfast a success.
And you're saying again, the price is only $65, 65 EC.
Only $65, a contribution of $65 to get inspired to be part of, this nutritious and delicious breakfast, to get to just socialize and be inspired by the guest speaker and to meet friends. Come together, women come together as friends, men come together with your families. It's a family-friendly event. Goodwill Parish Hall, 9 o'clock, Saturday, 28th March. We're looking forward to the support of the general public to make this a success.
Yvonne Alexander, I'm sure we'll speak again before the event, but thank you very much for joining us live.
And thank you so much, Matt. Thank you to Q95 and the management of Q95 for always being willing to allow us a few minutes to promote whatever it is that we have going on. Thank you so very much, and all the best to the general public of Dominica. I know there's a lot going on, but, sometimes we need to take a break and just come, relax, and be inspired. God bless you all.
God bless you too. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, the rest of the team.
You are too committed to me. Oh, Jesus, you're too consistent to love me. What you start, you always finish. But I've come to realize that you're too faithful to fail me. What you start, you always finish. But I've been tasting. You're too faithful to fail.
All right, Dominica, we're here. Please support the Cancer Association and that event there, breakfast, only $65.
Oh, Jesus. You are too committed to me. Oh, Jesus, you're too consistent to love me. What you start, you always finish. But I've come to realize.
Hello, 130.
You're too faithful to me.
Good, sorry about that. Sorry. Hello, talk to me, yes? Hello? Hello? Are you there, caller? No, you're not. It's already 1:20. The next 2 minutes. Don't forget at 2 o'clock, we have the Chief Executive Officer of the airport, Mr. Johnson, joining us for an hour.
You are too committed to me. Oh, Jesus, you're too consistent to love me. What you start.
Hello, yes.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you. Mhm.
Good afternoon to your family. That's Miss Yvonne.
But Yvonne is not here. I spoke to her on the telephone. She's not here though.
Oh, she has gone. Okay, okay. So I'm saying good afternoon to her. Max, every time I hear that song, yet it's full to disappoint me.
Mm-hmm.
I cry a lot because I remember my daughter
Your daughter.
who died of cancer. Matt, it is not easy. I hate that name, cancer. It is not easy. Matt, the Cancer Association, they helped me. And I'll be grateful to them. Whatever I can give, whatever help I can give, I will give them. Thank you so much, Cancer Association people. They are the only set of people with. She's gone, but I remember a lot. Not people who have cancer, I feel sorry for them because I know they are suffering. I pray for them. My daughter has 2 children. They are my comfort. Trust me, ma. Ma, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A chance to exhale there.
Come to realize that you're too faithful to fail me. Just that you are spirit, what a pretty taste. You're too faithful to fail me.
Warner, the UPP is coming your way this Thursday. A grand public meeting. Join the political leader, Joshua Francis, and the top executive members. Speak about your future, the vision for the nature island of Dominica, job creation, and electoral reform. Make Dominica great again. March 19th, next to Mr. Hayden Sharp. See your face in the place, the UPP in Warner, March 19th, 7 p.m. See you there.
Dominica, it's your turn to stand for Dewash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it, brother. I have no fear of nothing, no one at all.
Don't allow the authorities to destroy nature, the rivers, the mountain, the nature isle.
Don't call and complain about Dominicans not standing up. Where are you?
Make the call. Save Dewash.
It's not a war against the people. It's a war against wicked principalities in high and low places.
They're taking it to the next level. The court. Call and make your contribution to save Dewash this Friday, 1 to 3. Make that call. Save Dewash. Of course, we were expecting a couple there from the Wharton Waving area. We have not seen them just yet, but I will read and make public a letter they've sent to the Prime Minister for this land situation. My colleague, Brother Franklin Moses, is putting an audio to this letter presented to the Prime Minister by the couple with the land dispute. In a minute.
Just me goal winning Roseau again. Same place outside Flossie's. I tried to dock in, but you had time see me. Where? Story start again. Million, lot of my power with us, huh? Soccer fella. I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossie's. And you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? About my pocket, boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. To park I expect him, why? But it can him up here for Palais. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Floss's. Right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Floss's can't do it to you.
Dominica, of course, just on the weekend, we heard of a land situation, a land matter that resulted in the death
Again, as explained, yes, we had a murder in alleged murder, if you want to call it that way. This individual has been charged just yesterday for the ugly situation that which took place there in Emsall over some land. Hence, this couple, of course, have been making noises over and over again about what has been happening to them. The last time they appeared here in the studio, they seemed very frustrated and they're looking for help. And they reached out to the Prime Minister through a letter. So although this afternoon we don't have too much time, but I'm going to share with the public this letter that was sent to the PM. Signed by Clarissa Daly and Malcolm Daly. Husband, Clarissa wife, husband, Malcolm Daly. So I'm making for the next few minutes. Let's listen to this very interesting letter.
Wharton Waven, Dominica, March 9, 2026. To the Honorable Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, 6th floor, Financial Center, Kennedy Avenue, Roseville, Dominica. Dear Honorable Prime Minister, it has been a while. My husband and myself have been trying to make contact with you with regards to a matter which seems difficult to address and resolve by persons who are in the position to advise us and provide some resolve. We have been informed that you ask us to write to you with a view to you assisting in resolving our problem. We live in Guadeloupe. Before I returned home a few years ago now, and resided in Wharton Waven on property belonging to our family who resides overseas. Our family gave us written permission to occupy the said land where we reside. The property belongs to my husband's uncle, George Christopher, and is held by certificate of title registered in the name of Virginia Meade, deceased, who is the sibling of deceased Virginia Meade. We worried that our situation could escalate similar to that of the entrepreneur who lost their lives in Soufriere over road access a few years ago. The problem relates to our closest neighbor who is in constant conflict with us over a thoroughfare to get to our property. The police got involved on many occasions but have not been able to offer a resolve following numerous complaints by both parties. She threatened our entire family when she traversed our home and claims we were told that the land we live on belongs to the government, which does not make sense as the said land is registered in the name of the deceased Virginia Meade. Following the information we learned at court, we attempted to reach out to various government officials for some sort of an explanation about the purported ownership of the land by the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica. This matter has been escalating. The neighbors report to the police constantly, and the police comes to us as a result but provides no form of resolution. We feel that this matter will eventually escalate out of control and become detrimental. Honorable Prime Minister, we are seeking your intervention moving forward as the documents in our possession clearly shows 1, a road access to where we live. 2, that the property registered in the name of our family is accessed through the road access referred to. And finally, 3, it is our understanding that the road access may have been included in the land sold by government to our neighbor. This situation, Honorable Prime Minister, has been a constant persecution of our family for the past 4 years, and we are hoping you can, as usual, arrive at a resolution to bring some peace and tranquility to our lives. We look forward to a prompt response from you in order to discuss this matter further. Our telephone number is listed above. Yours, respectfully.
All right, Dominic, you just heard there from the contents of the letter written to the Prime Minister. Well constructed there. Sent to him on March 9th, 2026. I did try to reach out to the Prime Minister through a note. And the simple question I asked PM, did you receive this letter? From the couple. No response just yet. Maybe sometimes somebody will say thousands of letters. So we decided to, of course, take it through, and maybe it will get there quicker once we announce it on the radio. But I'm happy you took my advice and you sent this letter. You said you've tried every other avenue. So let's see what will happen this time.
See.
You waiting?
Patience, but not patience all on telling us. So we be in our patience.
So every day go like they see, and we
not. 4 years now, that's all we hear.
How many years you said?
4 years, but it's 4 years now. We're waiting for answers. We could go and make 5 years in November.
You know, I actually thought of you guys when I heard about this incident of the weekend. Read the fight over land.
You see, Rasta and the ballhead again. You see, it Rasta and ballhead, Rasta chopping ballhead. They want me to chop people. I tell you that don't happen, you know. The spirit all you like to play with, look it. All you bad, but I good. Take the fight. I do chopping nobody. All you have to share the blood among all yourselves, all of the criminals, the little devil worshippers, the little. Or you got in them again, sorceries and them. All you have to declare one another. In the name of Jesus. Because in the name of Jesus, all you doing all that.
Again, let's see if we can take a phone call, Ayo. We're here until 2 o'clock. Are you there?
Yes, man. But good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
But I don't understand that, you know. To me, listening to the letter, right, I don't even think that should be the Prime Minister, you know. The people in London surveying between the police and those people there, they should be able to settle that, because if they are saying that the plan is showing that there is the access road to the place to the land, how comes you can have somebody can have land without road access? But I don't understand, Dominica, man. That's not the Prime Minister, you know. The surveying department and those people there should keep that up. If you sell for the people, I mean, you're not supposed to sell the road. Now that you have done that, correct your mistake, man, and give the people their access. Come on, man. Right up into a thing, everything has to go to Prime Minister. Come on, man.
Well, when I did bring up the matter to him, he did say, you know, ask the couple to write to him. So I'm hoping that letter gets to his desk because it's the 9th. That letter was sent to the. Who did you give the letter? Who did you?
I went there. I asked him to go upstairs personally to give the letter, because I will not give it to nobody downstairs.
Right.
He sent me upstairs. When I went upstairs, I went at the desk. I think I come to deposit that letter. I'm sorry. Give that letter personally for the Prime Minister. The young guy at the desk told me, here's a fellow who inside one time there. His name is Cedric. Give it to him. I give it to him, and that was it.
All right.
And on Tuesday, I sent my daughter and bring one downstairs. So he got 2 copies.
Somebody's asking, man, this seems to be an everlasting problem. What exactly is the problem? We have a few more minutes and we'll wrap it up there. We have the airport manager coming in at 2 o'clock. Are you there, caller? Sorry. Let's see if we can get a resolution to this situation again. Sorry about that.
This problem has been going on, dragging for too long. A perfect example, as I said, took place on the weekend. One person fighting for another resulted in the chopping up situation there. That's very ugly.
The leader, they're doing nothing about that, no, Matt. Nothing. No. What is he about that one there yesterday? There?
Well, I haven't heard his comments on that one. I haven't heard his comments, huh?
They have to put those things in order. Why are they not really doing their jobs? Why? What is stopping them from doing their jobs? It's their responsibility. Land and survey, that's what they do. Survey the land, give ownerships and all these things. They're supposed to make sure that the boundaries and everything are respected.
And the police
and when there comes to problem, the police and them supposed to maintain that, supposed to solve that. They go to land and survey, they put an organization away and they solve them problems. They don't leave it to go to escalate to death.
But if they say in that situation, we'll be there, they're waiting to come and pick up the bodies, man. Why is it use of the police watching? You know?
Really and truly?
Really and truly. To protect and serve, normally, that is what they take the oath for. But I don't see that now. It seems to me they take the oath for corruption. I must say that. Or they don't serving and protect nobody. Look at little cheap. Boy, Matt.
Oh, wow.
Matt, I even hear about a pastor and a little girl what did. What is that now? Not a pastor that's supposed to be giving the good example in the name of Jesus. A preacher, man.
From my example, from my information.
And he getting bail again.
Hold on. Hello, talk to me. Yes. The situation.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Yes.
Now, the Prime Minister will not do nothing about it because he wants blood sacrifice for him to stay in power.
You cannot make a comment like that, sir. And to your information, the person allegedly involved in this sexual act was not a pastor. He's just an elder in the church. Okay, I just want to correct you. He's not a pastor. He's an elder in the church. Yes. Oh. No, it's not a pastor. It's wrong information.
I don't know.
No. An elder in the church. That's all I can say. Okay.
Big man like you.
I know. Sad situation, huh? So, what is your next step? We're gonna give the Prime Minister a couple of weeks, and then we'll talk.
But Matt, all that time for what really and truly?
Well,
So suppose in a day now we end up dead and nobody don't know who killed us. The criminal go and escape. Everything organized for
really
them.
Actually, what will happen?
Everything organized. I know everything, man. Don't think I don't know. I know everything set up. Do the crime, collect, ticket, everything, pay and go after. But that wouldn't happen, I tell all you.
Unless you have patience.
Matt, that wouldn't happen. Matt, let me tell you, I hope they can take. I hope they have their shield because I have mine. I hope they can. You see, I take in. You see, for years, I take in.
Hello, talk to me. We have to wrap it up. Are you there, caller? Oh, sorry. I'm hoping the authorities can intervene again and resolve the situation for this couple, huh? This is going on for a long, long, long time. All right, for the final time, I'm going to allow the audio and then we'll allow for final comments before we go. The letter written to the Prime Minister on the 9th of March. Listen again. Listen.
Wharton Waven, Dominica, March 9, 2026. To the Honorable Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, 6th floor, Financial Center, Kennedy Avenue, Roseville, Dominica. Dear Honorable Prime Minister, it has been a while. My husband and myself have been trying to make contact with you with regards to a matter which seems difficult to address and resolve by persons who are in the position to advise us and provide some resolve. We have been informed that you ask us to write to you with a view to you assisting in resolving our problem. We live in Guadeloupe. Before I returned home a few years ago now, and resided in Wharton Waven on property belonging to our family who resides overseas. Our family gave us written permission to occupy the said land where we reside. The property belongs to my husband's uncle, George Christopher, and is held by certificate of title registered in the name of Virginia Meade, deceased, who is the sibling of deceased Virginia Meade. We worried that our situation could escalate similar to that of the entrepreneur who lost their lives in Soufriere over road access a few years ago. The problem relates to our closest neighbor who is in constant conflict with us over a thoroughfare to get to our property. The police got involved on many occasions but have not been able to offer a resolve following numerous complaints by both parties. She threatened our entire family when she traversed our home and claims we were told that the land we live on belongs to the government, which does not make sense as the said land is registered in the name of the deceased Virginia Meade. Following the information we learned at court, we attempted to reach out to various government officials for some sort of an explanation about the purported ownership of the land by the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica. This matter has been escalating. The neighbors report to the police constantly, and the police comes to us as a result but provides no form of resolution. We feel that this matter will eventually escalate out of control and become detrimental. Honorable Prime Minister, we are seeking your intervention moving forward as the documents in our possession clearly shows 1, a road access to where we live. 2, that the property registered in the name of our family is accessed through the road access referred to. And finally, 3, it is our understanding that the road access may have been included in the land sold by government to our neighbor. This situation, Honorable Prime Minister, has been a constant persecution of our family for the past 4 years, and we are hoping you can, as usual, arrive at a resolution to bring some peace and tranquility to our lives. We look forward to a prompt response from you in order to discuss this matter further. Our telephone number is listed above. Yours, respectfully.
All right, after this, I'm hoping that somebody passes the message here and we get some resolution. But again, thank you for coming, and we'll see you sometime soon. Okay? I'll give you a call. Thank you. Thank you. Our next guest is here, the manager of the airport. On the telephone, good morning or good afternoon to you. Wow. Yes?
After packet here, the couple has already left me. But I wanted to pose a couple of questions to them quick. One, the deceased who owned the land, were they getting problem with the very same person that they're getting problem with?
It couldn't. The question is of course at packet. No, nobody was around the property when that land was sold. It was sold after they got there. Okay.
So why can't both parties compromise with each other and let life go on, bro? Because both of the parties have to leave that property and died. Why can't they compromise with each other and live in harmony? That's the last question. God bless you all, man.
God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson is here, a very, very distinguished gentleman. And of course, a special good afternoon to you. Sir, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Whenever I hear the word Mr. Johnson, I think I look for my father.
Sit back and enjoy the ride. You know, I've been invited on a number of occasions. I can't deny to get to the airport. But something always happens that prevents me from getting there. But I will get there very soon. I can see for myself. Mr. Johnson has always invited me. This is the second time he's here, and I've been to the airport side when invited a couple of months ago when there was a big ceremony there on a Sunday. So at that time I was usually off. So, Mr. Johnson, again, good afternoon to you. How are you doing, sir? How are you?
Good. Matt, everything is good. Thank you for having me back. As I always tell you, you make a call, I answer.
That's it.
You extend the invitation, I show up. So Thanks for making some time to squeeze me into your program, which I know
Very busy.
it's been very busy. I see you're doing everything from mediation, land matters. You know, you probably should be in the airport project.
I try. I mean, maybe I should apply for the job as PR for the airport. Huh? But let's of course start the conversation. We heard you earlier this week. I think I heard you with the press secretary. Very interesting, very revealing there. The airport, the update on the airport. But let's start with the very question, Mr. Johnson. What can you tell us about the airport? I know a couple of months ago you said, we nearing the end of the completion of the airport. What's the update you can tell us at this time?
Yeah. So in terms of the project status, we, as I've said repeatedly, due to the terrain in Dominica, large part, probably 60% of the work and the or more and cost associated with creating the platform on top of which the airport would actually be built. For the size of aircraft that the airport is designed for, which is the Boeing 777, we're trying to put in a runway that is about 2,850 kilometers. And now, in addition to the actual runway, there is also what we call a runway end safety area on both ends of 150.
A runway what?
Runway end safety area.
Okay.
And that is according to ICAO standards, an additional 150 meters in either end. So basically, you have the physical runway 2,850 meters, an additional 300 meters of safety, right, combined on either end. So almost 3 kilometers of relatively flat surface, right, that would be obstruction free, aligned with the wind for aircraft to land and take off safely. So in Dominica, we don't have a lot of that. There's lying about like in Antigua or Barbados or Trinidad, where you build as much as you want. In Dominica, we have to build the flatland and then build on top of the flatland. So that has consumed a lot of the time in terms of cutting and filling. And in backfilling, we're about 80, almost 90% complete in terms of the amount of backfilling that we have to do. And then for the runway surface area, which is the foundation on top of which you put your foundational material, which is like your large aggregate, small aggregate, and then you put 2 layers of asphalt on top of it. That foundation layer, we're about 90% complete, right? So if you were to come out, I'm still looking forward to having you on site. You can clearly see the runway surface clearly defined. The terminal building and all the landside buildings were located in an area where there was a lot of blasting and cutting to be able to get down to the right level. So once you get to that foundational level, you can start constructing buildings. And we got to that level last year. So we've started the construction of the of all the major landside facilities. The firefighting building, we actually had the fire service come out and do a walkthrough to have a look at it. That is, I don't have an exact percentage, but you can see the main superstructure of that is up. The terminal building is progressing quite satisfactorily. We have, because the steel frame building, you can see the major columns, the foundation works for the majority of the buildings are complete. And then you have the other like FBO, air traffic control tower, general service equipment shed, and fuel farm for being able to store sufficient fuel at the airport once you're dealing with much larger aircraft. So I think we're going to have on site fuel storage for about a whole week. Right, which is what according to the master plan. So that is progressing quite satisfactorily. Now, as everyone would appreciate, this is a almost over 500-acre site. So there are a lot of different tests and tweaks and challenges that one would encounter that we've been navigating through it. I know we'll get to talk about aggregate and quarry and all that fun stuff. Once we go, but all in all, we have about I just come in here, I just asked them for a quick update.
Mhm.
We have over 400 Dominicans locally employed on the project.
400.
405 to be exact.
Mhm.
In terms of the superstructure, we're about 40% complete, which is the outside of the works. So we're looking by, as I say, God willing, because man plans and God laughs.
Mhm.
By November of this year, folks should see a fairly well defined runway and the majority of the buildings with all the external walls
Mhm.
up and completed by November of this year. And we're still gunning for a 2027 completion date.
At the end of 2020.
By November, October,
Mhm.
right? Depending. But like I said, these things you have give and take. Barring any major climatic event, we should be able to push ahead to that completion date.
You know, a lot of people ask the question, and I will allow a lot of people will I'm sure, will engage us this afternoon. Somebody's saying, what qualifies Mr. Johnson to be the head of a CEO? I know you're of course you're well qualified, but somebody's asking the question: Are you some engineer?
Well, I started life as an industrial engineer, which is systems, processes, project management. Worked Josephine Gabriel in the Coca-Cola factory.
These were the early days, huh?
Early days. There's a foundational days. Actually, when I was thrown into the deep end of the pool, as they would say.
Okay.
Leading the transition from Valley Road to Canefield. I don't know if you remember the factory operating in Valley Road, right? So I was the one that was chief cook, bottle washer, right alongside Mr. Gabriel in moving that. And then moved on to the States and worked primarily in transportation, distribution, management, consulting field for several years and working in several Fortune 500 companies. So coming back in short spurts, what qualifies Samuel Johnson for this project is the ability to manage large, complex projects of this magnitude. Is this one of my largest projects? No. All right. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies.
Fortune 500 companies. These are big companies.
Absolutely. Looking to make changes with multi-billion-dollar engagements over 4,500 locations. Right. This is all one location, one project, and yes, there. And again, I'm not the chief engineer on the project.
Right.
There are people who do that, but being able to oversee, and the role of IIDC really is one of oversight on behalf of the government. Government is the ultimate client. The project sits in the Prime Minister's office, right? So being able to clearly push the project along, articulate challenges, and being able to find solutions to problems as they arrive. And how do you keep your finger on the pulse on the many different moving pieces? Because airport is like a small city, right? In terms of the amount of pieces of work going on. So you have to be able to be what I refer to as scalable, be able to see the big picture, but still be able to dive down into weeds when required. Right. So that I think has served me well.
And of course, you're doing a good job. You have to beat your chest thus far on that project. Only 2 years now?
No. Actually, we this year we started in earnest in 22. So we're 4 years into it this year. Next year will be 5 years, which is by Caribbean standards remarkable. I know you've had a guest here who found it impossible to have an airport built in 5 years. My good friend Andy. So I'm trying to collect on that bet, that Andy has out there, So hopefully we can deliver it. We can deliver it within the 5-year time frame.
Well, I'm happy, as you said, you're doing a good job thus far, and a lot of people will compliment you and say, but it appears that we did not have the complete plan in front of us. Mr. Johnson. A lot of people are criticizing. So if we had the plan, why are we doing this in phases?
Yeah. So the project is structured, and again, coming back to the timeline, the project is structured as a progressive design build agreement between the government of Dominica.
Explain that to me, please.
So progressive design build has many phases where you agree on the concept, right, that you're trying to build. Then you go out and engage with a developer who then helps you to tweak the concept into engineering drawings, where you have pre-detailed drawings where you can make tweaks again and test along the way based on the site that you have. And then you have the final drawings that is then being constructed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by virtue of the fact of the size of the project, if you were to do a sequential project where like you're building a house, and you do all the design and you finalize the drawings and you submit it and you wait until everything is checked. That takes a much longer period in terms of a sequential process. By doing the progressive design build and trying to work in parallel, things that you can work in parallel. I think your listeners would recall when we had the big uproar about the boreholes and how many boreholes, and they haven't finished the boreholes. Well, you can appreciate the runway being over 3 kilometers. Well, the runway, but the strip, the platform over 3 kilometers. You can start working on the sensitive areas, all right, if you're testing and building a profile and building a picture whilst you're moving on. You don't necessarily have to finish all the geotech, because in Dominica's case, it's not that we have 1,000 locations that we can put this site. So from an engineering standpoint, you need to work with what you have and figure out what changes has to be done to make it work. And having a developer who can help offset some of the risks associated with the development is something that I think bodes well for the project.
The question again, the questions always come up. Well, I mean, the planning division must give, of course, authorities for a permission, if you will, a better word, to build an airport of that size. And we're hearing that you guys, I'm just saying you guys, of course, you said the project is within the government office or the Prime Minister's office, did not get permission to do that. How do you respond to that?
But how is that possible? Because the planning division is Government of Dominica, is it not?
Yeah.
Right. So the Government of Dominica did not give the Government of Dominica permission to build a project for the Government of Dominica.
Well, you can put it that way. You can put it that way, and of course they are the authorities, not
Correct.
the prime. You agree?
No, I know. So my thing is, from a process standpoint, and if you look at the board of the planning department, they're all public officers, right? So on the board of the planning, you have the PS of Common Works, you have the Commissioner of Lands, and these are all public officers. So that is one thing. But in terms of the process, though, not getting sidetracked, in terms of the process, the ESIA, the master plan, all of this was submitted to planning back in 2021, June or April of 2021.
And did you get the green light?
So, the government would have gotten the green light to go ahead. At the end of the day, the government is the ultimate client for the project, working through the developer and the contractor, right? So it is like you're in a house where your wife or you are cooking and not giving yourself permission to cook in the house. So and again, I'm not getting involved in the nitty-gritty, but in terms of following the process and the submissions of the relevant documents and plans, these have been submitted on an ongoing basis.
Okay.
To the planning authority.
Yeah. And you're satisfied that you got that authority of permission.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because ultimately, as I say again, the client is the government.
All right. Somebody's asking specifics. I see Mr. Marvin Boland is saying, which Fortune 500 companies on what projects you're talking about?
Well, I can list. I've worked with Roman Haas. I've worked with Dow Chemical. I've worked with Ford Motor Company. I've worked with Pfizer. I've worked with Bosch and Lomb. I've worked with CVS. So if he wants to
You can send me a list.
if he wants a list and or he has an engagement that you don't want me to be to re-engage in, sure, absolutely, we can.
You can go on and send him a list.
We can do that, and I've worked at every level from the office of the CEO to various. So for example, looking at process standardization for.
Again, I just think they question your qualification. You'd understand.
Yeah, it's good that they do that, but and it's something that I've found coming back in that we're always good to question the qualifications of our natives, which is probably a talk for another.
You're right.
Another thing.
We never think about our natives are qualified enough.
Yeah, and at no point, and it's something I've observed, even not just on this project, but on other projects, at no point has anyone ever asked about the qualifications of a foreigner who's working on a similar project?
Not being prejudicial, especially if the person is white.
I wouldn't go down that road. That's for, but that is something we as a people,
a mindset, we
need to work through ourselves. And again, from a Dominican, as I was talking to
Franklin
on the way in. I mean, growing up at Riverside Apartments, you learn to deal with those things and you roll along. I didn't come to Dominica to be validated or to seek recognition or anything like that.
All right, let's take a phone call. All right, hello, talk to me, yes?
Hey, good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon. Yes, sir.
Matt, the gentleman just made a statement there that is frightening to me. It underscores what is happening in Debranche. And he said, when you ask him about whether there was a permission from the planning to go ahead, he said it's government. Planning is government, and government is the agent building and everything. So government doesn't need to give government permission to the government. And it is frightening to me, Matt. So, because what he's saying is that government, if they have a project to do, can override every piece of legislation they have put in place and just do as they want. And it seems that is what is happening in Debranche. And it's frightening to me. That is the impression that he's giving, that the government can just go on in the airport without having DC, without having ESIA and anything at all, and just do work on the project. I don't think that is what he really wanted to say, and he should check his statement again.
All right. So, and the question again?
Huh?
I'm listening. Go ahead. Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah, I have two more questions.
Okay.
I need to know, he said he's the CEO of the airport. Is the funding for the airport sitting there already? Is all the money there? Or is the government just going along as time goes by based on what they're making from the CBI? And I'm asking that in light of the fact that CBI is dying. It's almost comatose right now, considering that Europe, America, and all these countries have put a ban on us because of our CIP. Our passports no longer are valid to go into those places without a visa. So is the funding for the airport sitting there, or are they depending as time goes by on what is made from the CIP? Finally, he spoke on the firemen going to take a walk at the site of the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I saw, it is that they only have the steel frame up. I don't see any concrete structure work going on. So I need to know, what was the purpose of the firemen coming there? What can they do? Because except you're an engineer, you do not know what is happening. You're just seeing steel frames there. So when he's bragging about the firemen coming there and having a walkthrough where and what? Is that just political grandstanding to make it look like something is happening? Because the firemen cannot tell you what is going to happen there, what floor is coming there, what is happening there, just by going through steel frame structure. So I'm just wondering if this man being genuine with us, or is he just coming there on a political stunt? Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Johnson, can I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. The steel frame structure is only the main terminal.
All right.
The firefighting, air rescue and firefighting building is a concrete structure, which I don't know when last the caller was on site, but if you go on site, you will see that concrete structure is up. And he probably is aware that the location of the air rescue and firefighting building is very critical in terms of their ability to respond. So they need to be able to get to either end of the runway in under 3 minutes, right? So the location for one is critical, and again, if you were to follow his logic to the natural end, you would give someone to build a building for you, and you will never visit it until it's finished, which we all know that's not how things operate. So having the drawings, yes, is one thing. Looking at the dimensions in drawings is one thing, but being able to come on site and see it and feel the space on site is another thing.
And sometimes you have to see and somewhat tweak a little
bit. Absolutely. And again, and that is I think part of what's great about the process that we've followed, in that we can have continuous engagement and feedback to developer. Right.
Okay.
So having the deputy chief and I think the station manager and a couple other guys from the fire service come on site and actually he deputy actually walked the site. We were going to drive to the firefighting building, but he wanted to walk the site to really get a feel for the space, because the pictures and the drawing don't do justice, and that's one of the reasons why I've been after you to come and get a feel of the space, right? To get an appreciation for the quantum of work. In terms of financing, that sits on the 6th floor, 6th and 5th floor, actually, between the Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Prime Minister. So I don't delve into CBI and all of that stuff. So you can probably have them in at some point in time.
Okay, that's not your responsibility.
No, that's not my scope. No.
All right. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yes. Good afternoon. Yes, quickly.
Yes, Mark.
And try to, of course, limit yourself to one question. There's so many questions to be asked. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
You know, the question now is who played the piper calls the tune. That is what's going on there.
Is that your comment?
Yes.
Okay, caller. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next question. Are you there? Yes.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
And good afternoon to Johnson.
Yes.
My name is Isaac Baptist Johnson, city planner architect and former head of the planning department. A couple questions. Are you familiar with the provisions of the Physical Planning Act relative to the construction of the project that you are now managing or supervising?
That's your first question? Can you put on the headphone? Yeah. Okay. All right. So ask the question so you can hear himself. Go ahead, sir.
Are you familiar, because I was asking Mr. Johnson, is he familiar with the provisions of the Physical Planning Act relative to the airport project he's now managing?
You want to answer that question first?
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I'm familiar, and we've been that whole process is being managed by the airport secretariat in terms of being able to link and liaise with the physical planning and submitting of plans, the whole land acquisition. So that is, yes, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Yes. Any questions?
Okay. You seem to suggest, or didn't suggest, implied that the fact that government is the developer, and therefore the physical planning, the role of the physical planning department relative to the Physical Planning Act appears not to be that important, because it's the government that they're all government heads of department like communications and works, etc. I would like to suggest to you this is very and absolutely misleading and wrong. The purpose of the Physical Planning Act is the objective is to protect public safety, public health, and public welfare. This is the objective of the Act. And every person, including the government of Dominica, undertaking development in the country must observe the provisions of the Act, given this objective. So the government of Dominica must apply for, obtain planning permission. If the physical planning department doesn't have the capacity or the board the capacity to review the project, the Act provides for them to engage persons to assist them in so doing. Additionally, the project that you're now managing requires the Act provides a specific section that must be observed in undertaking such projects because of its environmental, social, and other impacts on the country as a whole. That being said, let us go to the Debosh area. Be the developer or the contractor received planning permission to set up a crusher at Debosh.
Is that a question?
Yes, yes. The question I'm asking him, did the developer, that is MNC or Anthony Hayden and Company, or the contractor obtain planning permission to establish a crusher at Debosh?
Okay, this question's for you.
Yeah, so the crusher at Debosh, we've received from planning in writing the approval to go ahead with the installation of the equipment at Debosh. There was an ESIA that was done for Debosh, and I know there was some pushback by planning on it.
A stop order, yeah.
A stop order was given in December of last year. Since then, we've had the Prime Minister and a cross section of different technical folks from the government and planning came on site. There were key mitigation measures that were given to the developer to have them installed on site. So those works have happened. We've since had another visit by the technical board from planning to come on site and have a look at what was done in terms from mitigation standpoint. And they were able. Well, they were. I think I can probably say from the visit, it was very favorable. But still, they wanted to do some additional tweaks and additional consultations before final. And on site, we were able to get from them the ability to move the equipment that already has been sitting on site to go ahead and do the installation pending the final approval. So we do have in writing approval for the installation of the equipment, but not for the operation of the equipment.
Okay,
right?
so what are you waiting for now?
So I think there is a process that's going on with the planning department where they wanted to get some more public feedback or whatever it is. So I think a notice went out for a 2-week period for public comment, and that is ongoing. So we're pending to get that feedback from planning for the final go ahead.
So why, Mr. Johnson? Why is Debosh so important to this project?
Yeah. So Debosh, it's ironic because Debosh actually was one of the first locations that we looked at initially.
Was it?
Yeah, when the quarry, because we were looking for quarry sites, and actually I think there were 2 or 3 different locations that we looked at in the area. Debosh was suggested because it had been used
in the original plan.
In the original, yeah, because it had been used in the past for stones for Melvin Hall, Douglas shops, right? At the time, we thought that the contractor and developer thought it was too far. They wanted to get something closer, and that's where Crapo Hall was then selected as the preferred site. Now, with Crapo Hall, we started for the basic needs that we need for Crapo Hall, which is the culverts and the drains and some of the foundation works. The aggregator at Crapo Hall was sufficient to be able to push it through. But we were not able to go full speed with Crapo Hall, right? Because of, you guys are familiar with the injunction and the hours of work and all of that. So that forced us to look for another quarry. And I tell people, God works in mysterious ways. In that, as a result of having to look for another quarry to be able to bring up your output, we then went back and had another look at Debosh. And there, through the testing, we actually, with the boreholes and all of that, to find out what material, the quantity of material, we found out that the material at Debosh was actually superior to the material at Crapo Hall. And that is, and again, well, if you go back to where we started, proximity to site was a big factor, right? So Dave Wash pushes it out a bit further. And then I know some of your listeners might say, well, why not use other quarries from other sites? So a whole analysis has been done on that to say, well, what if we would go to the West Coast? The volume of aggregate that we're going to need to push out from the West Coast, that would, I think with the last report I saw, I think it's about 8 or 9 different communities would have to be impacted. I get calls regularly about the trucks coming through Roger and Canefield, and that's carrying cement in closed bags. When you go further afield, then the whole northern part of the country becomes part of the airport site construction project because of the amount of trucks and the costs that will be incurred by going on that distance.
But who before you go on, who are the persons doing those tests? Because I'm hearing from other geologists, University UE geologists said just last week that the rocks are not the best as compared to other sites. So who?
Well, I actually read that report, and actually I knew that would come up, so I will read it so everyone can.
Okay.
Which I don't know if everybody read it. Most likely they did, but on page 17 on his report, he went to talk about copper mines and the difference between a quarry and a mine. And then he went on to suggest that it is suggested that where is it? It would appear that suitable tests on potential materials and runaway skid-resistant aggregate would have to be undertaken on any materials from the various quarries in Dominica. So the geologist's work really that was done was as the first step in an assessment of the material. He himself, in his own thing, is suggesting that additional tests would have to be done. So the additional tests that he's suggesting would have to be done with the actual tests that were done, right? And that would be your specific gravity test, water absorption, aggregate crushing value, aggregate impact value, Los Angeles abrasion, and 10% fine value. So these are the tests that were conducted on the quarry in Marigot or Crapo Hall and the quarry in Dave Wash. And Dave Wash on all metrics in terms of the size of the different aggregate, the 25 millimeter, the 20 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 5 millimeter. Dave Wash came in within the specs and exceeded the specifications that were required for the airport. Now, in terms of some of the observations, well, and one thing which I think we should probably put an easy one to bed is the Dave Wash site is not a mine, because I know we've been using that term. Even in the geologist's report, actually, he makes up a note to go on and define the difference between mining and quarrying. So on page 17, he says the term mine is generally used for metallic, iron, copper, lead, zinc, gold, etc., and other precious metals, example diamonds. In contrast, the term quarry is generally used for bulk construction development materials, sand, gravel, limestone, basalt, dacite, marble, etc. Mines tend to be deep and track seams of mineralized rock. In contrast, quarries tend to be less deep and tend to be sited in areas with much more uniform geology so as to minimize waste, right? So even the use of the term mining is inflammatory in that there is no mining plan for the area. And then the other point that I've heard out there that the site is going to be 120 something acres or 200 or 300 acres. Is no such thing. The area that is excavated right now is a 7-acre plot of land that was leased by a private owner. So where the crusher site is going to be located is a private owner that the developer has leased the land from. And then the quarry side is going to be 19 point something, about 20 acres in addition to that 7 acres, right? So we're not talking about some open pit mining where we're going down 300 feet into the ground, and some of the comments I've heard out there. I appreciate that there is concern given the history of the area, right? So just as in the past that there were studies done for copper mining in that area, that is not the intent of this, right? And I am only involved in the dewash as part of finding aggregate for the project, right? So it is 100% related to the airport project. It is not a mine. It's not for mining, and it's intended to be a quarry for aggregate.
I think I have a call on the line there on my telephone. Mr. Jerry Brisbane, good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Yes, good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon, Mr. Johnson and your listeners.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing?
Excellent.
Yeah. Matt, two things, just very quickly. I would like to ask Mr. Johnson, the tests that he says that were done on the dewash and so on for the different specifications of the rock, are they willing to make that public? Because it's something, if they would make public, or we could pay to get. If we have to, we would love to get those tests, so we could compare them to what information we have. And secondly, Mr. Johnson, you just read from the geologist's report, and it's quite interesting because you did not go on to read the last line of what the report said about mining. And was that by accident or was that by design? Which says, written.
You can go ahead and read it, I guess.
Interchangeably, so let's be honest and factual and not try.
No, but Mr. Brisbane, you can go ahead and read it. So if I left it out and you think it's something substantial to the conversation, you're on air now. You should read it.
No, but you are reading to the public, and why didn't you just finish the last line? It says. And then again, Matt, to be very...
So I'll read it. Outside of geology, the terms quarry and mine are typically used interchangeably. And unless explicitly defined, a quarry could be considered a type of mine.
Thank you very much.
So does that negate what was said before?
No, yes, it does, because you were trying to show that a quarry is not a mine, and then it's showing you very clearly it could be used in different forms. So let's be honest when we are doing stuff and not try to intentionally by design do all stuff. Matt, the last thing I'd like to say, even from the mine point of view, I mean, just today I had a discussion very quickly. I don't want to hold up Mr. Johnson. I wish Mr. Johnson, maybe I could invite you, and we'd be very, very pleased to have you on your team and ourselves have a public meeting, very open public meeting, televised and all the media, and where we could again have a very civil discussion about all what's going on. It'd be very nice. I think that's what would be the best to do, so that the people could ask the questions. I myself have about 50, 60 questions to ask you. I know I wouldn't be able to get through that.
Well, actually, I want to do one better, Mr. Brisbane. I'd like to invite you to have a meeting with me, because that's something actually on or anybody in the airport project. That's something I on my drive yesterday, I saw the Kalinago chief and I saw Mr. IP on his side in the protest. And one of the comments I made, no one had reached out to the secretariat or to my office with any questions. So it would be good if we could sit down and have a conversation and go through your 50 questions.
Yeah, but Mr. Johnson, if you really want to be fair to the public, which I think we should, and the communities that have been affected, it would be nice to have a very open meeting, not just one-on-one. I mean, let's have a public meeting. That's what we should do. Let everybody come and let everybody a consultation, let everybody ask the questions, let it be public, let it be open, because we are very open. All our reports, everything we've done has been made public. Like you have reading there. That's why we'd love for you to give us yours so we could read. I mean, that's a simple request. I don't think it's difficult to that, Okay, Matt, I don't want to take up more of your time.
All right.
Let Mr. Johnson have his time and we'll have ours. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Johnson, something I'm hearing there from all the other side is that, yes, you guys have your reports, but they're asking to share notes. Is that a possibility?
I don't see why not. I mean, the ASI is published for everybody to see. They're all submitted to planning.
Is there a misunderstanding between both sides?
Which both sides?
Meaning the government side and those pushing.
No, I am willing to meet with anyone, and I don't see anybody ducking or hiding from the questions. I think the Prime Minister himself has been on site.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you're building a 500-acre site project. It's very difficult to hide, right? In terms of what is something, but there in one of the things though in Dominica and in Dominica's
I think one of the engineers actually, said he would like to come on as well. I think Mr. Sherlock is one of the big engineers.
Yeah. Wait, what is he?
And I'm saying that he has said to me that he doesn't.
Yeah. Absolutely, Sherlock is part of the team. That's involved, and he's been involved in several major civil works in Dominica. So, insofar, I don't know of any Dominican who's built an international airport in Dominica before. So it's first time for a lot of the folks involved in the project.
But based on as I said, based on the other side, as I said, the people for trying to protect Devansh and those saying that they have not gotten the opportunity to share notes and compare notes. This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely, and like I said, if one of the points I was making was that in all of this back and forth, I asked in the office, and no one has ever reached out to ask a question. Right?
You mean the secretariat?
The secretariat or the thing in terms of asking, well, where is what is what, and I'm seeing some people wild and free in terms of copper and gold, and even in the same report they say it's fool's gold. It's written in black and white, right? In terms of, and they speak to the thing, but it's not copper mining. It is a quarry for aggregate for the project. That's the only reason.
Are you satisfied you'll get if it becomes reality that you'll get all the material you need for the area?
Yeah, and the area that we want the material for is for a very specific use. It's for the tunnel, which is going, and actually that's another thing I find amazing. In any other Caribbean island that the tunnel was being built, that's a big deal, right? But we get an airport and a tunnel as part of one big project, and we just run over it like it's nothing, right? But the tunnel is running underneath the runway, and to the developer and the contractor's credit, they want to ensure that the concrete of the highest strength is produced for that area, and that is C50 or C40 concrete, which is about roughly 4,500, 5,000 psi strength concrete, of which the aggregate used in it is critical, right, to be able to produce that. So the volumes that we're looking for is to be able to enable the completion of the tunnel, right, and then we also want it for the subsurface of the runway,
which is 90% complete. You said.
Well, the runway foundation, the runway platform is 90% complete. But on top of that, there's an aggregate bed, right, that has to be put of two different layers and two different particle sizes. And that is also very critical. I'm sure you've seen the stories of what's happening in St. Vincent.
Yes, I read that.
They've had issues with their
cracking
up, right? So, as I say repeatedly, when your friend's beard is on fire, wet yours. All right. So lessons from our neighbors
in St. Vincent
are something that you put you on guard to make sure you're overly precautious on some of these things. And then another thing we learned from St. Vincent as well, which I'm sure your listeners can appreciate, is St. Vincent took almost 13 years to build the airport. And then after those 13 years, it took them another 3 years before they were able to get direct flights into St. Vincent, right? After the completion of the airport. So one of the things that we've done is, in parallel with the airport development project, we've done aggressive route development, right? So now, even before the airport is complete, we have direct flights to Miami. It started with twice weekly to 3 times to daily. And for the winter, we had twice daily. Right, coming into Dominica from Miami. We have United coming direct from
New Jersey,
which which was once a week. For the winter, they went to twice a week, right? Initially, United was always positioned as a seasonal service. But again, these are two key relations that we've developed even before the airport is completed. Now, some of you may say, well, look, United and American can land into Douglas Charles. Why do we need an airport? But
I've heard that argument.
You have to appreciate, and actually, I used to be one on the other side of the international airport agreement until you sit across the table from the airlines and decision makers, and you realize. So, for example, for the first 6 months that American Airlines operated into Douglas Charles, Dominica Miami was the only route in their network that operated with 2 captains. All right, so they had 2 captains just to make sure they could train up their pilots for landing into Douglas Charles, because I don't know if you've been on that flight initially. It was a pretty interesting one, and I mean the good thing for us is the folks at Envoy, right, were initially part of American Eagle in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So even the test pilot was familiar with Dominica, so they could do the flight procedures and flight protocols to be able to come in. Similar with United, they had to actually do special upgrades to the aircraft to make sure in terms of their flaps and their brakes, they could operate into Douglas Charles. And the aircraft that they operate in is one that they are looking to retire in 2028. All right? So it's a very specific aircraft, specific upgrades done to come into Douglas Charles. So these things don't just happen. And then the training required by their crew for coming to Dominica is also at a different level, because one of the things in talking to the flight ops guys, they tell that landing to Dominica goes against their standard training, because their standard training at Envoy is keep it steady, straight, and whilst you descend. In Dominica, you're descending and turning and weaving to come into. So, and I mean, fast forward to today. I mean, with the extension that was done in Douglas Charles and the grooving, you hardly have an American Airlines flight being cancelled. Actually, hardly hearing of cancellations due to weather in Douglas Charles now as a result of the upgrades. And again, these were things that were done as part of the big picture. You're building an airport not for a collection of buildings, but you're building an airport to get airlines and to get passengers and to get visitors. And that is being done in parallel. So even as part of the scope of what I've been involved to in for the airport is interfacing directly with the airlines to get them ready to line it up so that by the time this thing finishes in 2027, we can have additional flights coming, because that from where I sit, again, keeping the big picture in focus, the airport is the means to an end. Having the airport by itself is not the end, right? It's a means to an end. The end really is a significant increase in your visitor arrivals and the economic contribution it can make to
how do you plan? Yes, I know you're very optimistic about the reality of this airport. How do you plan to maintain? That's a big question there. To maintain this super, I think maybe from what I gather, should be one of the biggest.
Actually, it's not.
It's
so
not?
That's another misconception that's out there. Yeah,
it's not.
So in reviewing the master plan, there's a great deal of pragmatism was put in place in that. How do you size it, and how do you develop your forecast that is realistic, right? And so the master plan has what they call 5 different passenger activity levels, where you forecast the volumes of traffic and working with Landry and Brown, figure out the spacing and required. So I'll give your listeners just a frame of reference. As we are right now, we're about 15,000 square meters in terms of the size of the terminal. So let's give the 2 main things. St. Martin is 30,000 square meters, right? Antigua is 23,000 square meters. The new St. Lucia Airport terminal that they're building is going to be 26,000 square meters. Now, one can appreciate these destinations are way more developed, right, in terms of their tourism program. But at the same time, you want to build a shell that is big enough that you can grow into. Now, our 15,000 square meters compares to our existing Douglas Charles, which is 3,000 square meters.
Really?
So it's 5x, right?
5x.
Douglas Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the existing UNRO International in St. Lucia, that is 9,000 square meters, right? So you sort of have to, like I said, it's not a bottomless budget you're working with. You have to find something that is practical, that you can grow into. At the same time, you're going to get another bite at this apple probably in the next 30, 40, probably another 50 years, right, that we've been working at it. So quite a bit of thought, I think, has gone into ensuring that you put the main pieces together that you can then grow into over time without being ridiculously large with it. So like a airport the size of St. Martin or which is 10 times Douglas Charles. That's not realistic, right? And there are folks that I was saying, even in terms of the runway length, that we should have a runway that is 3,200 meters or longer. Even that, we had to look at what is the evolution of aircraft technology, right? And you find the bigger aircraft are being able to operate on shorter runways. So the runway we have is not even 10,000 feet, right? Well, at 2850 is 9,350 feet, right? So we're not the longest. Trinidad is, and actually Barbados is the longest. Barbados is 3,200 meters. And they operated with Concorde. So that was a big thing. I think they probably had some military something in Barbados as well. Trinidad is longer. Antigua is longer, right? So it is not just well, and I've had people, I've read some of the comments of people are saying that we should have 2 runways. Why we only have 1 runway? When you go through the region, the only other countries that have 2 runways, or full taxiways, like Santo Domingo and probably Puerto Rico, and not even Jamaica has 2 runways, right? Which is a significantly larger. So it is, yes, we've waited long, but how do you find something that's realistic and practical to where we are and what we are actually going to
let's take a break and then let's take our call there for this segment, and we'll come back. Hello, our caller there.
Yes.
And yes,
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Yes. Mr. Johnson, I heard you speak about the strength of the concrete and you spoke about the stones in Dewash being critical to the strength of the concrete, And I've worked with companies that have gotten all of 7,000 square feet per PSI on concrete using, I'm not trying to put a plug for PH Williams, I'm using PH Williams stones. And I worked with concrete close to Lai River, and we could not use the water in Lai River at a certain time because the river was dirty, and that has a lot to do with the strength of the concrete. So I don't think it's so much of a big deal when you talk about Dewash and the strength because of the stone. You understand me?
So what's the point? You're saying what?
I'm trying to say, when he speaks about the stones in Dewash being so good, there are places in Dominica that have stones that you get 6,000-7,000 PSI, all right, in the concrete, because it depends on the amount of water you put in the sand and stones, and the amount of sand and the amount of stones. It's important for you not to put a certain amount, too much water. You understand me? That will not be good for it. If it's 2.5 pails to barrel, that's all you have to put. You can't just be pouring water in it, and that's critical to the strength of the concrete. Okay.
All right, because he's sort of making a point here, because I've heard from engineers there, and I think maybe that don't have the kind of materials we have. For example, some people putting up some major structures there in New York, and doesn't necessarily mean they don't have the kind of rocks that we have, and they get the PSI they're talking about, the 5,000.
Well, you'd have to see the test results of the material, because, for example, when Landrum & Brown was originally going through the master plan, they were even suggesting that we import aggregate from Canada, right, for the run.
That's what Jamaica did,
right? So and we have the material that meets the specifications right? And I get the point of the water and the water, but the concrete is a chemical reaction, so there are several variables that go into the strength of the concrete. I'm not a concrete engineer by any stretch of the imagination, so I rely on people who worked in the field and who studied, and I do think they would come out with and run 6 different tests on aggregate if it wasn't required. If it's just a question of how much water you put into it, then
If finally,
that would be easy.
if finally we get from the planning people that Debwash, don't go back to Debwash, Mr. Johnson, what are the alternatives that you'd have at this time?
Well, a nice way from a project perspective, you would have to then look at if there's a significant increase in costs as a result of the distance through which you have to get the alternative material.
And slow down the
Then-
process?
Well, everything is a trade-off, right? If you're building a house and the cost of the roof has to be a certain material, and you spend more on the roof, then the furniture might suffer, right? Because your budget is X and you put more on the roof, so you might not go with fine china and expensive tables or the flat screen TV because you need to have the roof, right? So if it is that and it's, I'm not speaking on behalf of the developer by any stretch of the imagination, but I know there are constraints in terms of the cost implication to different decisions.
Do we have the alternatives?
There are other. I know as we speak right now, there was an assessment done, and they're still testing. We have let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other quarry sites that have been assessed, but the majority, actually all of them, are on the west coast of the island. So that is TBD. I have put the developer in contact with one of the local quarry operators. I know they've met and they've taken samples and they're looking at it. So
with all the controversy, don't you think that would be another alternative to avoid all these problems with Debwash?
it is something that has been explored, but as I said, when you spend more on X, you have to spend less on Y, right? So, and that's a trade-off I guess the client would have to make, which is the government.
All right, let's see if we can take a break and we'll come back. There's a lot of questions here. I'm not sure we'll be able to answer all of them, but we're going to take a quick break, Dominica. Very interesting discussion there with the CEO of the International Airport. Dominica, this is Q95. This is a talk on the block. Very frank discussion there. Some people might say no with the CEO of the airport, Mr. Johnson. Stick around, Dominica. Stick around. Voila, the UPP is coming your way this Thursday. A grand public meeting. Join the political leader, Joshua Francis, and the top executive members. Speak about your future, the vision for the nature island of Dominica, job creation and electoral reform. Make Dominica great again. March 19th, next to Mr. Hayden Sharp. See your face in the place, the UPP in Warner. March 19th, 7 p.m. See you there.
Dominica, it's your turn to stand for Debwash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it, brother. I have no fear of nothing, no one at all.
Don't allow the authorities to destroy nature, the rivers, the mountain, the nature isle.
Don't call and complain about Dominicans not standing up. Where are you?
Make the call. Save Debwash.
It's not a war against the people. It's a war against wicked principalities in high and low places.
They're taking it to the next level. The court. Call and make your contribution to save Debwash this Friday, 1 to 3. Make that call. Save Debwash.
All you, I just meet Goldwyn in the Roseau again. Same place outside Flossies. I tried to dock in, but you had time to see me. Boy, story start again. Million, lot of my father, we got Salcapella. I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossies. And you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? I'm my pocket the boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. Tu pagas specie moi. Ure kadima pepe pale. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Floss's, right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Floss's can't do it to you.
Wharton Waven, Dominica, March 9, 2026. To the Honorable Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, 6th floor, Financial Center, Kennedy Avenue, Rosal, Dominica. Dear Honorable Prime Minister, it has been a while. My husband and myself have been trying to make contact with you with regards to a matter which seems difficult to address and resolve by persons who are in the position to advise us and provide some resolve. We have been informed that you ask us to
Dominica, it's your turn to stand for Dewash.
If you want to kill me or you plan to kill me, go right ahead and do it, brother. I have no fear of nothing, no one at all.
Don't allow the authorities to destroy nature, the rivers, the mountain, the nature isle.
Don't call and complain about Dominicans not standing up. Where are you?
Make the call. Save Dewash.
It's not a war against the people. It's a war against wicked principalities in high and low places.
They're taking it to the next level. The courts. Call and make your contribution to save Dewash this Friday, 1 to 3. Make that call. Save Dewash.
All you, I just meet Goldwyn in Roseau again. Same place outside Flossie's. I tried to dock him, but he had time to see me. Well, story start again. Million, lot of my power with Gaza. Saka fella, I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossie's, and you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I'm busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? I'm my pocket the boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. Tu pagas specie moi. Ure kadima pepe pale. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Floss's, right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Floss's can't do it to you.
All right, Dominica, a lot of comments there on Facebook. Everybody has their say. We should allow them to express themselves. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for the information thus far. Ready Airport Construction Project. Question 1. How independent are you in the current engagement? One question again, I'll repeat it. How independent are you in your current engagement? 2. Going forward, is there a plan to engage an independent qualified professional to review the work and report? This move would seek to authenticate your reports. That's a question to you. 2 questions.
Independent in terms of, IADC is it's government representative. So I don't know what you mean by independent.
IADC?
IADC, the International Airport Development Company, is an entity that of the government to provide oversight
of the independent? Of the government?
Of the government, absolutely. Because, again, it's a government project. And the intent really is to be advisorial and consultative in sometimes in terms of driving and ensuring that all stakeholders are plugged in and engaged, and as well as the contractor and developer working closely with professionals to ensure that designs and feedback and all regulatory agencies are coordinated for the project. So, for example, to the question about review, we've had several visits of ECHA, and we've actually had ICAO visit the project as well. ICAO is the International Civil Aviation Organization, which ultimately all civil aviation authorities feed into. Right? So ECHA would be the ICAO representative for Eastern Caribbean. For the United States is the FAA, which everybody is familiar with. So they ultimately will be the ones who will be certifying the aerodrome and ensuring that there is safety. We've also engaged with IATA, which is International Aviation. It's basically it's an organization for that represents all airlines to ensure that airports meet certain requirements for the airlines to operate within. We've also engaged with some of the airlines that are working currently in Dominica. So, for example, both United and American. I've sat down with American's operations team in Dallas, Texas, to go through the plans and layout, and actually some of the changes that we've made actually reflect feedback that we received from some of these agencies. So it's not we sit in a box just shooting stuff out. We try to, and actually that's one of the reasons why I like coming on programs like this, in that I think genuinely everyone wants what's best for the country, and one thing I professionally have learned is that sometimes you can develop what is called workshop blindness, where you're so deep into something you're not seeing
The other side.
other alternatives, right? So that's something I've always valued, going out and getting a different point of view, because you approach things from different angles. I mean, working in consulting, I worked alongside folks who had qualifications and training in the humanities, so they think different than people who started up with engineering background.
Mhm.
Engineers tend to cut things up in sequential pieces and build it back up together. You have people who are majors in philosophy and majors in fine arts. They think different and see things differently than you. So having many points of view is something that I actually go towards, and they help to produce a better outcome.
All right, somebody's saying here, Matt, we just asked Mr. Johnson about alternatives. He said there are 7 tested sites. So how did they come to the conclusion that Dave Wash is the best if they did not have the test from the other sites?
It's the best within the proximity of the project, right? As I said, when we looked, so it's not like we can just take. There's a cost associated with where the material is coming from.
Okay.
So the locations that we looked at were locations within close proximity of the airport project, right? So we used material from Hans de May, we used material from Crapo Hall, we used material, we haven't started with Dave Wash other than a few stones that probably we had a look at. And there's actually another spot in Atkinson that we looked at, and we spoke to the property owners, private property owners, and they didn't want to have us use the material. So there is it's a balance between the location and what you're trying to achieve, because everything has, in any project, you're managing for 3 things: time, cost, and quality, right? To ensure that you can keep within those. It's a 3-legged stool within those 3 parameters.
Let's take a phone call. Yes, of course, we're here a little after 3 o'clock, and of course, you'd understand that Mr. Johnson is a very busy guy. He's giving me some of his time. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Are you there?
Yes, good afternoon.
To you, sir.
I want to say thank you to you, Matt, and Mr. Johnson for having this conversation. There's so many other issues, but I'd like to raise just 2. Mr. Johnson mentioned in passing that the EIA for the Dave Wash site is available. I'm aware that it has just been made available, and this is several months after there's been activity in the area, which seems to be a little back to front, because part of the reason for an ESIA is to guide the developer and the financiers and the project owners before any work begins on site, and that the planning laws of the country also make provision for something that he alluded to, which is to make the ESIA available to the public. I used to be planning minister in government years ago. I also did ESIAs for private and public agencies here in Dominica and other islands of the Caribbean. And I know that the interpretation of making an ESIA available to the public has meant that you inform the public that there is a report available. Anybody interested can come, not just come and sit down at planning and read there, but you can come, you can make copies, you can take it away, and you can distribute it widely into interested parties who will take time to review and then share their comments on the ESIA. That consultation and access to a report in a timely manner does not appear to have happened with regards to DBOSH. I would go further and say it does not appear to have happened with regards to the airport site, because there was an ESIA report done by a gentleman, I forget his name, but Cliff is how I know him, a white guy. He submitted his, and somehow or other, even after a few of us and other individuals made attempts to get access to that report of the ESIA on the airport site before construction began, it was nowhere to be found. We know that Cliff delivered it to the government, but for some reason, it does not appear to have got as far as planning. So it is somewhere in the government bureaucracy, but it never got to planning. My question to Mr. Johnson is there an official ESIA for the airport site? Where can one get access to a copy of that ESIA and review it, like we did, for instance, with regards to the geothermal project? They made a copy available to us in hard copy, and we were able to sit and review it and raise issues and questions. But I'm asking, if there is an official copy of the ESIA available, how can one get access to it? That's part. And the other half of that question is, have you submitted and got full planning permission for the airport project? And if so, where can one get a copy of that? Because planning is telling us they haven't seen it. So please clarify. It's a conundrum. This is the largest construction project in Dominica's history. And there's no need for there to be a mystery about it. And I'm hearing you suggest that you're open to consultation. So I'm asking, tell us where we can get copies of the ESIA that was done for the airport project, the ESIA that was done for the DBOSH site, which I understand is now available, but only to be read inside of planning. How do you consult with people around the island who might have an interest in it? Not everybody can make their way down to the planning department. So help us understand what you understand to mean available to the public for review so you can get our opinions. I believe that would be helpful in the process.
All right, Mr. But thank you very much, Mr. Arthur Marcia.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I guess I should thank him for acknowledging that an ESIA was done by Cliff of Ocean Carib, and that was done. Actually, he was one of three entities involved in the ESIA for the airport overall. So it was Ocean Carib. I think it was JK Engineering and ATM or AMT out of the US. All collaborated on the ESIA for the International Airport Project. That I know was submitted to planning in either April or June of 2021. Insofar as and I know we received feedback on that submission a month ago, I think, or 2 months ago. So insofar as where it is and where's the official submission, and planning not being able to find it is a bit alarming, but I know it was submitted together with the master plan by June of 2021, and there's communication back and forth to
That's the way it is right now.
It should be in planning, and actually planning has written, making reference to it, right, in recent communication that I've seen.
So why is it not available?
I can't speak for planning, so planning would have to explain or talk to what Mr. Martin said as to they not having it or it's not available or they can't find it. But we have communication.
And they're making reference to that.
And making reference to absolutely the submission that was done back in June of 21, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
If not 21, 22. I don't get my dates mixed up. So that has been done. Similarly for the quarry site. I mean, we've done it is in terms of ESIAs. I remember actually when we first started, we had a conversation. The Prime Minister had a program on where we used to have like weekly or monthly programs where we talked in length about the ESIA back then and what are some of the findings coming out of the ESIA. And the focus really was to ensure that there were no endemic species on the site. That's one of the main things that came out of that. And then what are the mitigation measures that you'd have to put in place to ensure that if there was major surface runoff, because one of the main concerns I know that came out of the study that was done was for a project of this size and the amount of earthworks that were involved and the heavy rainfall that obtains in Dominica. We were very, very careful not to one thing I keep telling the developers over and over again from a runoff filtration standpoint, how do we ensure that the sea around Woodford Hill, Wesley doesn't turn red, which would be as a result of excessive runoff from the site. So I know that was one of the things that came out of that study, which I know for sure as a fact was submitted to planning.
All right, I think somebody wants to ask a question about let me see if I can get are you there, caller? Are you there? Quickly. Yes, hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, question please.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Sam. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Yes, Matt, I was hearing you. Are you there?
Turn down the volume on your radio and you'll hear me because you're hearing me 1 minute after. I keep saying that.
Hello.
Turn down the volume on your radio, caller.
Oh, okay.
I keep saying.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, go ahead. Say what you have to say.
Okay, quickly. Yeah. Good afternoon to you too.
Good afternoon to you. Yes.
In concerning the tunnel, or you guys come to the conclusion that the tunnel is the best thing for the airport now. In connection with Woodford Hill and Wesley, was there any other alternative for road in place of the tunnel? And if so, just sensitize us on why the tunnel and not the extension of the road to the airport that can facilitate Wesley and Woodford Hill, in even village extension and so many other things. Yeah. Keeping in mind that the tunnel is good, but there is a lot of risk in tunnel. Thank you very much.
All right. He's basically asking, what are the alternatives as it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the and actually, it's a very good question. Thank you for that. Because we went back and forth. And I think if back in the early days, anyone who visited the site, one of the things I kept saying repeatedly that we are looking at the tunnel or a bypass road. Right, so we did an entire study in terms of having a road which goes past the airport, going down towards and connecting to Woodford Hill just before the bridge, going down at the head of the runway. But one of the things, and one of the things that was identified actually in the ESIA was a massive swamp at the end of the runway, which there would have to be significant disruption and excavation of what is referred to as a black soil to be able to put embutments for either a bridge crossing or piles to be able to get across it. In addition to the potential ecological impact in that area, it was also going to be prohibitively more than tunnel. And then the other piece that you would which sort of went against that as well is the airport road now becomes the national road, right? So everyone going between Wesley to Woodford, they will all have to pass through the airport to be able to do that. Additionally, the entire Palm Tree area would then become a dead end because you'd have the runway cutting off Palm Tree from Wesley. And the only way, so for example, people who would be going to the, I think there's a funeral home on the other side in Palm Tree. The Seventh-day Adventist has a school, I think, on the other side as well. They would have to make the whole round around the airport and then backtrack into Palm Tree to be able to access it. So the tunnel really was thought of in practical terms to be a way of minimizing the amount of disruption in that part of the community. I know there was very, very a lot of concern in terms of the amount of community disruption as to what impact the airport would have on the community and their natural way that they've operated. And then additionally, the question about risks associated with tunnels under runways. We're not the first airport in the world, definitely not even in the Caribbean, to have a tunnel under the runway. And in talking to the CR5 team, this tunnel is like a practice tunnel in terms of the size and complexity is very straightforward. You have the location of the tunnel is actually removed from the touchdown part of the runway on either end, so it's closer to the center. There are airports such as in Fort Lauderdale or Atlanta, where the tunnel is actually under the touchdown of the aircraft. So you can imagine the impact you have with a 777 landing on that area. We don't have that complexity. The location of the tunnel, the most it will be exposed to is planes running for takeoff or planes backtracking, coming back to the terminal. So it's not something you're gonna have.
In terms of roads, because a lot of people have been asking the question, getting to the airport is a little difficult in terms of the drive. Is there anything futuristically that that the government be planning to get a straight road across to the airport, say from Layu or something? Are there plans?
That's something that has come up repeatedly, and I know that
because that's going to be a very, very long drive.
Well, it's going to be an additional, I think, 10 to 15 minutes from 10 minutes from Douglas Strauss, right? Because the proximity of the new site to Douglas Strauss is relatively close, and we've made proposals in terms of potential ways of shortening that. I know there is a project that is under consideration for what is referred to as Pegua to Portsmouth, which would straighten and widen the road between those 2 points. I know there was a team that has recently walked that site. I don't know what the timing is on that. And I've always heard growing up of the potential of a road going through Layu. And I remember when I first started on the project, I tried to get that from Mr. Vincent Robinson, and asked around and looked around, and for some reason no one could pin down whether there was any survey. I remember my father actually talking about that many times, that there was a road that they looked at to shorten the drive time from
Melville Hall?
From Melville Hall going at the back of the airport coming down. But I have not been able to put my finger on that. But it's not part of the scope of this project. But it's something that we definitely at some point should take a closer look at, because I drive that road, and
3-4 times a week.
It's some folks get really custom. I had a conversation yesterday, and they were telling me they were doing Canefield to the project site in under 40 minutes, and I couldn't fathom being able to do that. That's not fast driving. That's low flying. I haven't been able to get accustomed to it, but I think at some point in time it's something we probably should take a closer look at. And I know it has been raised, and the government has been looking at.
We're going to take one final call. Of course, I know Mr. Johnson will stay on, but time is of the essence. It's already 3:27, 3:24. Let's move on there, take our call, and of course get out. Yes.
Nurse Diram.
Hi, nurse.
How you do? I'm hearing the gentleman talking to you. I was asleep, so I might pick up something wrong. He said they test all about where they were going to fix up for the airport.
What?
Did he say they test all about?
They test
the best place.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Foundation.
I find we like Rory Dominica. What are the tests all about? Let it be the people to read all the things, and only will be sure. I never saw nothing on the saying there. I'm a Dominican. I hear they say married God people and white people have to have a fight. I wish it would happen. But only telling people things, I don't understand nothing what you say. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. I'm sorry that you're confused, and you woke up late, so I can understand. All right, so it's 3:28. Mr. Johnson, I'm going to give you the final 2 minutes to wrap up because time is of the essence.
Yeah, I think
futuristically, what are you thinking? Where is what is the quickest way forward to find a solution to debauch, and what is the plans? What are the plans?
I think the process will work through, and the people probably far more capable than I am who are on top of it to navigate that. But what I want to do though is to quickly pivot and have your audience focus that really the airport is the means to an end. Right, and what is the end that we're looking forward to? The end is the reason why so many Dominicans pick up and go to St. Martin or to Antigua, because they have vibrant tourism industries. And how can we, as a country, avail ourselves? I'm even thinking about using for the use of the airport. So the whole question of if, but when. In my mind, the airport is baked. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pivot quickly as to how can we maximize the airport. When we sit down and we talk to airlines from the UK, from Canada, how do we ensure that those planes can come in full? How do we make it attractive for visitors to come to Dominica? Because the more St. Lucia, Antigua, when you look up north and south, they draw something like $2.3 billion a year from the tourism industry and visitor arrivals into the economy.
But then hold on there. So of course, and our main product as it relates to the tourism is the nature.
Absolutely.
And of course a lot of the people are saying, so why destroy the Dewash area?
Right. So
when we're destroying nature.
We're not. We're absolutely not. And if you were to go on Planning's website, you'll see they have maps of water catchments all over Dominica, and you'll see that the area that we're working in is next to nothing. Actually, it's great that you brought it up, because sometimes we think of Dominica as a little island, right? But we're actually fairly big. Dominica is 8 times the size of Anguilla. Barbados, Antigua, St. Lucia, we're bigger than all of them, right? Dominica, Anguilla, for example, gets 100,000 stay-over visitors a year.
Mm-hmm.
We're 8 times bigger than them. We're not looking for 800,000 stay-over visitors. St. Lucia gets 400,000 stay-over visitors. Antigua, 3 something. So if you're able to get that, we have the ability, the unique ability, to grow an industry and not destroy the thing that we're trying to grow into. Right, because we have that amount of capacity to hold it. And then if you were to take and people think about it in terms of an industry standpoint, when agriculture was at its peak, over 33% of Dominica was under cultivation, with chemicals and spraying and bananas and whatever it is. If you were to take the airport site and all the hotels in existence, planned and in the pipeline, you won't get 1%. of the country, right? The space of Dominica being utilized for tourism, right? So in terms of when I hear things like destroying the country, or you don't have the space or the capacity. If you look at Wesley, Londonderry, Woodford Hill, those three communities combined is the size of St. Martin, all of St. Martin, right? So I think we need to think of it, Dominica, and the opportunity that we have as a country. We're much bigger than I think oftentimes we think of ourselves, and the opportunity I think that we have to grow as a destination. And I think the cool thing about how the industry is structured, we have 7 different zones, so we're not trying to ram everybody into one area. You still have that dispersion where you have Jungle Bay and Colibri Ridge in the south, you have Secret Bay, Intercontinental in the north, you have Fort Young, in Roseau, you have the Hilton being under development in Salisbury. So it's relatively spread. So the experience and the vibe that is uniquely Dominican, I think it's still retained, and we still have a lot of capacity to grow, in my humble opinion.
Mr. Johnson, it was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
I hope you come back soon, eh? And the
As
people
I
are
did.
asking for public consultation, so get involved in that.
As I see my brother give me an invitation, I'll show up. Okay, have a good one.
Thank you, thank you.
Good
Thank
afternoon to you.
all the best. Thank you.
Intend to hang on. Tell them fall in love. I ain't gonna eat lice. I ain't gonna grow old. Sitting in the cold, not me. No, they go have to beat me. They go have to eat me. Or the heads go roll.